This is compound interest stock guy. I'm gonna wait for people to come in. Okay. Hey. So in this video we're gonna be talking about how cannabis is gonna be $1 trillion industry by 2043. So I created this idea based on 2043 because there's a lot of compound growth. My name's Compound Interest Stock Guy. I've been watching these markets for quite a while. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment, information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about. Buy or sell after you did your own research, due diligence, and you like the investments you're pursuing. Yeah, leave a comment if you want me to talk about anything today. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. So, yeah, so in this video, basically, okay, so cannabis has, it used to not even be in the legal market, be $1 billion in sales, right? So back in about like 2017, the companies like Canopy was the only one that was making a million or 2 million or something like that a quarter. And then now it's as though every company, in the space does 10, 20, 30 million, if they're a legitimate company, right? So that's really the amount of growth that this we're seeing, right? So it's crazy. So, and you look at there's Illinois. So Illinois has 11 million people, right? And they're basically fully announced. Basically, they're they're about a $1 to $2 billion industry. So that's pretty bigly. Just a $1 to $2 billion industry on their own, and but for 2020 they should probably be around like 600 to 800 million probably for the whole state based because there's just not enough facility that's big enough, right? The facilities are they can be like 125,000 square feet are Cresco's and GTIs. Okay, so Cresco's and GTIs they're only 125,000 square feet. So how much like can you really grow out of that? I mean, maybe 15,000 kilograms in a year. So both of them combined are like 30,000 kilograms. So what are you selling it for? Like, I don't know, $10, $12 a gram. That's like $360 million. And then there's other companies that are probably going to have about 50% of the market out in Illinois. So then you're talking about, I mean, maybe they do more than that. Maybe they do 400 of those companies, but you add those together, you're getting about like 600 to $1 billion for the 2020 for Illinois. Now with Florida, like the medical state's about a 600 million market. And basically when it's the market that size, that's only medical. When they get to medical and recreational as well, then it's going to be like a 2 to 2 billion, I think, industry just for Florida. So then you start adding like Colorado, the size of Colorado is like a billion or something like that. And then you start adding like Washington, and you start adding California. California's got about $8 billion in illegal sales and about $3 billion in legal sales. So that's like 11 billion, and that's a what is it? It's like 39 million people. So the same population as Canada. And then you're talking about Ontario. Ontario doesn't have any stores. Ontario is going to be one of the biggest places in all of North America. That could potentially be like a $2 to $3 billion market for 2020. I mean, probably like a 400 to like 700 million market. I mean, maybe if they have like a lot of stores, then they could push up to about like 800 or something like that. But with all the growth in Canada, you're talking about like $2 billion. So it's pretty much 2 billion, and then it could push up to about 3 billion. That's probably gonna what we're talking about for 2020. So that's called compound interest, right? This compound growth. So when you had 2019, so they said 900 million, right? For everybody, for all the states. Now you got just now for all of Canada, and now at the end of the year, there was months that were like 125 million for the month, and now we got more edibles, more stores everywhere in all the provinces, from say like BC to Alberta to Ontario to Saskatchewan to Quebec, PEI, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. You add that all up, and it's just like keeps really growing. So um, I mean, 2020 is not going to be a stellar year for Canada, but it's going to have good numbers for some of these companies. Like if, say, like Aurora and Canopy, if they're able to, garner about 25% of the market share, they're going to be able to do about like 500 million. But I mean, they got a lot of competition with Oxley's and Chronos and like Zenabis and Fire and Organigram and Afria and Tilray. So there's a lot of competition fighting for it. So they really have to go outside of just Canada. When you're talking about say like Italy and Switzerland and Portugal and Germany and Luxembourg and just all these European places. And now, Tilray's got a deal for about 20 million for 2020. So that's pretty big on an international scale. Now that if you think about the numbers, if you run the numbers, that's pretty good for Tilray as far as international sales. The reason why they're able to do that is because they got Novartis, right? They have Novartis, and Novartis is like a $200 billion pharmaceutical company. So they have the distribution relationship so that they can do that. So without Novartis, they're not going to be able to do that. So that's just the reality of things. That Novartis and then Ab and Bev's giving them, they're able to work on these like CBD teas, and like they're gonna launch these beverages. So they're gonna have some awesome, they're gonna compete with Canopy and Hexo in the beverage arena. So they're gonna have good market share in that, and so like maybe that's like 10 to 15% of the market. So they're going to be fighting for about 300 million or 200 million in Canada. So, but what I'm getting at is, when you think about Canada at a fully mature rate, like in the next like 3 to 4 years, in all of Canada, we're going to be talking about like 3.5 to like $5.5 billion for easily in sales. So any of the companies that they have their tight, their tight SG&A, and they got good profit margins, they're going to be able to get that net income. And that's what I want, get that net income, that cash flow, money in my pocket. So that's really the reality of things. That's what we need to see in the industry, not just the extraction players. We need to see the growers in Canada, like Aurora, and not just Afria. I mean, Afria's got the inventory and some tax stuff I don't want to get into, but I do like Afria, but there's a big market outside of just Canada. But Canada is going to be, it's going to be a decent market for North America, and there's 330 million people in all of USA. So when you think about, if it's 10 times or 9 times the size of Canada, and Canada is like about like when it fully matures, like in like 10 to 15 years, we're going to be talking about like a 8 to like a $12 billion market in all of Canada. And then, then we're not even talking about medical. So Shoppers Drug Mart's going to have medical market. So that's really the basis of things. It's just going to keep growing, compound interest, compound interest, compound interest, compound interest. So we're talking about, like, so say you got $10, and then the next year, then you got $12, and then you got $14 and 15. So that's the whole compound interest. It grows like so crazy. So if you do it on your calculator, compound interest, you can do like, okay, like 20 billion. Okay, let's say in like 2 years, it's 20 billion for the whole market, right? And then you times it by 20% every year. So the second year, then you're at 24, then you're at 28, then you're at 34, then you're at 41, and then you're at 49, and then you're at 60, and then you're at 71, and then you're at 86. And I mean, then you're at 103, and then you're at 124, and then you're at 148, and then you're at 178, and then you're at 213, and then you're at 256. I mean, then it before you know you're at a trillion. I mean, maybe it needs to grow at like about a 25% clip every year for all the sales in all of Canada. But I mean, not just Canada. I'm talking about global. I'm talking about South America. I'm talking about Europe. I'm talking about potentially Asia. I'm talking about India. All over. There's 7 billion people in this world, and I don't think it's going to be hard to have like 10 or even like 5% of those people. So 5% of those people is like 350 million. So if 350 million people, if they all spent uh like like 3000 like $3,000 or something like that, that would be $1 trillion. And in the future there may be more people. So that's really, we're really early, and there's a thing of a boom and a bust, and it happened in the Apple days with technology, where companies were overvalued because there was based on hype, and then now they had to be work towards the street. So the street wants them at like a 20 to 50 PE ratio, right? And then you got bloated pigs such as Canopy and Aurora that's got like negative PE ratio. So who wants a negative PE ratio, right? That ain't good. That ain't good. No, that ain't good. Uh, I'm just gonna send this link to Twitter. Yeah, so I mean, you just start adding it all up, and the numbers get really, really big. They get really, really big, and it's just gonna take time. I mean, when you're talking about like Brazil's got so many people, or Argentina, or Chile, Colombia, and all these places around the world. And then you start thinking like, okay, then you start adding up the numbers with like CBD gel capsules. Like maybe people start taking it all across North America as if it's like a Tylenol, right? I'm starting to hear it from people. Like they're like, oh, I don't take pills anymore. I take CBD when I go to sleep. And these are like old people that are like straight laced, like they go to church on Sunday, every Sunday. These are the people. So when you start doing the math and you start realizing we got 100 times growth, like pretty much 100 times growth in the next like 23 years. So I absolutely do believe that 100 times growth in the next 23 years. So some companies aren't going to make it, some companies will, but that's just the reality of things. This is a book. This is a book I'm making. So it says marijuana. And then in the back, I got all this stuff because I write stuff down, right? I got to keep track. I got to keep track. So, how you guys doing in the market today? You guys trading? You guys just chilling, watching your market, your stocks going up or down? What are you watching? Commodities, cannabis, technology. Hit the like. Um, yeah, so let's see how this went. Yeah, so I mean, I yeah, so I was just talking about how it's going to be $1 trillion industry by 2043. When you do the math, um, I'm going to get a compound interest calculator, and I'll do it I can't show you, but I'm gonna do it for real. Like, I got the calculator. I'm doing it here because it's called Money Chimp. It'll do that for you. Um, Money Chimp. You just write in, like, say you got uh, 10 billion dollars. It'll change it to, $40 billion, like after you times like over years and stuff. So that's really the reality of things. Money Chimp. I'm on there right now. Okay, so I think the legal market is about 10, and we got 23 years to grow. So in order for that to grow to that, it need to be 1,000, because 10 billion equals a trillion. Like if you times it by 100, so it needs to grow at about 23, about 22.7%. Well, no, 22.3. Yeah, you need to grow at about 22% for the next 23 years, on that growth scale for the next but if that's just average, right? So if some years, like the way it's growing right now, it's like growing like 2 times. Like we're seeing crazy growth. We're talking about where, you know, states say they were like 20 million, or provinces were 50 million, and now 2020 it's going to be like 4 times that, or 2 times that, or 3 times that. Like different places are having huge growth. So it's wild out there. I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of money that's going to be made off some of these companies. Balance Grow Works, they got the secret sauce. Just keep making vapes, and then eventually they're going to be working on beverages. I mean, they can compete. They can have some market share with Hexo and Tilray, and Canopy. Absolutely. So, I mean, they're not going to be as good probably, but still they can have a market share. So that's just the reality of things. You got to grow, got to get that compound interest. And I mean, the industry is just, I mean, in Canada, it's only been legal for like 1 year. And when it's first started, like in the first months, they were having like about $40 million in sales. So that's like on an annual run rate, that's like 480 million. So then if you're talking about like 125 million, then you times that by like 12, and that's like 1.5 billion. So it's like going from like 500 million to like 1.5 billion. So with a B. So that's like 3x, right? The growth. And now like in 2020, we're going to see like 2 to 3 billion absolutely in Canada for sales. And then who knows with 2021, it just depends how many stores are around. Like if there's like 2,000 stores and every store averages uh 2 million per year, that's a 4 billion run rate in Canada. So the same thing going with USA. A lot of states, they don't have much stores. Like Illinois is just creeping up. Like Cresco and GTI is only able to have like 5 stores each. So then when these companies, they're able to do, you know, well, like 20 or 30 or 40 stores. Just think about that growth, from 5 to 40. So that's like, say they're doing like 100 million a year, then they can do like 500 to 800 million a year, and that's like 0.8 of a billion. So the reality of things, like, it's just going to be growing, and a lot of these states, it's just going to be the same as Starbucks, but people are going to spend a lot more. Hey, JG, what's going on? He's a good buddy from Twitter. What's up, JG? Glad to have you here. Yeah, so basically, you know, It's the crazy because Starbucks, I was just checking their financials, and Starbucks has about a 25 billion dollars in sales per year, and they do about like 3 billion in net income, 3 to 4 billion in net income, and their market cap's about 100 billion dollars. So just think about it. 25 $25 billion, and they're worth $100 billion. So when the industry gets really freaking big and across the whole globe, and uh there's big companies that are doing like $20 billion, these companies are going to be worth $100 billion. So, and they're going to have better profit margins for the very foreseeable future. I mean, except cannabis, because they grow like $6 a gram. Like, what the fuck is that shit? Just like get rid of all your facilities and like buy all your weed from Village Farms or somewhere else. JG would like that, hey. But yeah, I don't know if I did this is my second live stream. I got the other live stream. I just put it down. But yeah, basically, no, I'm serious, man. You guys have no idea how big USA is going to be, because Illinois is going to be about like 1 to 2 billion easily in the next couple of years. And then when you start thinking about like in like 5 or 10 years, it could be like 3 billion. And it's only like 3% of USA. So you times that by like 33, um like that's $100 billion industry in USA potential. Absolutely. USA has the potential of $100 billion. Serious. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But we're going to be talking about it in the future, where it's like, okay, you got, in like 2 or 3 years, where it's like a 15 or it's like a $25 billion industry, and you got the big dogs like Curaleaf's going to be a big dog. Like I was looking at A Capital saying 1.3 billion for 2020, one, I think, maybe 2020. Uh, it's true. They could uh GTBIF in US. Absolutely. They are the Illinois players. They're great. But I mean, they are kind of, let's look at their market cap. I'll look it on myself. I think they're both around 2.5 billion. They're about 2.5 billion. So, I mean, will they go up? I think they're not the worst company to focus on in 2020. But I really think that Curaleaf, as far as the dominant, is the one to go with for dominant. But I do like, as far as profitability and profit margins, True Leaf's better, but they're running into like all that lawsuits and all that crap and manipulation in the market. So it's not the safest investment right now. That's why I didn't give them the number 5 spot. I picked Chronos, I picked VFF, Valence, and what else? Labs and something else. Um, that's what I picked. Oh, Tilray. That's who I picked. Tilray for my top 5 for 2020. Well, yeah, it does suck for them. I mean, it's just like anything that happens in this industry, good or bad. I mean, like if a good company is doing good things, it's just, it either falls on deaf ears, or as soon as it people start to hear about it, they just get crushed. It's like crush, bang. So it's like, fuck you manipulators. Oh, it's like fuck. What don't you guys understand? People like things like this. They like things like this. Do you know how much money these things are gonna make? Do you know how much fucking money these things are gonna make? You think that people in other countries um aren't gonna want to use these? Are you kidding me? They like the Jupiter research was done, but in Israel, and Israel is like going all medical now. So, and they're talking about 100,000 patients in 2020. So whoever gets the lion's share of Israel, so far it seems like Tilray is gonna make mad money. Well, yeah, dude. JG, it's like Tilray's got the secret door to 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 Israel and to other places because they're connected with Novartis. So Novartis Sandoz is like Novartis is a $200 billion market cap pharmaceutical company, and Sandoz is their like medical division. And basically they just like write the Sandoz thing on their oils, and then the Sandoz guys like help them get into markets that it may not be easier because there'd be like pushback from the doctors and stuff, but because the Novartis people already have like long time like ties with these people, do you think they're gonna just like be like, oh, it's like, hey guys, throw us, we'll throw you some money on the table and you guys take care of us. The world's so fucking corrupt. It's not even funny. But enough about that. But basically, like Israel, Chronos, I think Israel, 100,000 patients by the end of 2020. So 2021. I mean, you look at the numbers that Truliev's doing on 200,000 patients in Florida, like 70 million USD a quarter. So then you add that like in Canadian funds, I mean that's like $95 million. I mean, if they do half that, that's still freaking good. If they did like 40 million a quarter, like, and that's like 160 million for the year, that's fucking good, because it's all about like getting the piece of the pie like in every direction that you can, because there's a lot of people that are fighting for the piece of the pie, but when it's going to be a big number in the future, when all the legislation just like kicks back and chills, then we're talking about, then it's going to be like so much money flowing through so many coffers, like so much money. It's just going to be dynamic, because the Germany market is going to be huge. Like, I don't know if you guys even know this, but Germany, like Afria and Aurora, and like I don't know the deal with Wayland. Like Wayland's like actually like on the bid and ask. It's so weird because like so much crap happened to Wayland. But the point is that Germany, they had like the lots. Like Wayland had like 3 lots with 600 kilograms with the German government, and then ACB had 1,000 kilograms, and Afria had 1,000 kilograms. So, like, what if they sell that for like, I don't know, like $8 a gram or something like that? Like, that's a pretty substantial. That's adds another 8 million there. So it's just they got to get money all over the place, and then the money just will be amazing, because it's all about like knocking down the dominoes, like one thing at a time, and then they all gonna fall down. Like Ontario's like didn't want to do any retail stores, and now they're like opening the doors. Now they're like, all right, we'll take care of you guys, and we're gonna have more stores. But they're like, they have red tape. Canada's just been known to do a lot of red tape, but it's gonna be a big market in Ontario. JG says vapes are huge in USA. I'm sure they will take off in Canada. Um, yeah, no, absolutely, they are taking off. They're selling out in the BC cannabis store. I bet they're selling out really quick in Ontario. I don't like nobody can get them. So, and they're like Valens and some other companies, because there's 14 million people in Ontario, and some of those people have been wanting to use like these vapes and edibles for a long time. So absolutely. So I don't know. I really could go on and on about this, but it's just gonna take shape and form. I sound like a crazy lunatic talking about this stuff. Like it's gonna be $1 trillion. It's the reality. I'm glad I'm making this video, because it's out there. It's out in the universe. It's $1 trillion industry. I mean, it no doubt about it. The thing is, dollar become worth less over 20 years too. So like you used to be able to buy a Coke for 50 cents. Now it costs you like $1.50. So, realistically, it only needs to get to be like $300 billion market, and then with the inflation going across, like then it'll still be $1 trillion. And I mean, even if I'm wrong, which there's a possibility, I don't control the future. Even if I'm wrong, it's still going to be a lot bigger than it is right now. Like we're talking about like 250 billion easily to 500 billion by that time. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it, unless they just decide to just like crack open and be like, no, all you guys in Canada, you guys got to shut the door. No more growing cannabis. You in USA, no more cannabis. You're out. And then but I just can't see that happening. I mean, the things are just rolling. So, what are you guys watching the markets, JG? What you looking at? So, I think I'm gonna end this. It's been 31 minutes. Okay, you said they aren't. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think they are stopping this train, man. USA wants those tax dollars. They absolutely do. I think uh FSD's up huge. Oh fuck. Yeah, I guess they're going to the Nasdaq. That's fucking crazy. Uh, Upswing trader, he likes that stock. I don't know. I want nothing to do with huge. I mean, if he makes money on that, good for him. But yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with it personally. I want it's like the Berkshire Hathaway cannabis portfolio. That's my focus. I want to be I'm just putting it out to the universe. I want to be the Warren Buffett of cannabis. So that's just what I want to be. I want to be known as. I want to have my portfolio super solid, but it's hard. It's not easy to convert your portfolio, but I got time. I got till 2043 to when the industry is $1 trillion. So yeah, yeah, I wouldn't buy it. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. I'm gonna peace out. Just getting used to this live stream stuff. You can check out my other video I did for a live stream earlier today. Just getting some practice on this live stream because it's kind of hard to figure out. But I mean, if you guys want to do this sometime and I can figure it out, we can kind of pick a time like to do it at certain, and then we can just chat and you know take it from there. And yeah, we're just gonna grow this channel, and glad to have you guys along. So, anyways, keep compounding your info and listen to my lingo and shaka and peace. I'm out.